Yo, what's up y'all? We're back with another action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Dasin model or Dasin toy, the boy who lies, also known as Pinocchio. Now Dasin model, I'm not sure if that's the same company as Dasin toy, but their styles seem similar, so we're just going to keep it moving. Now myself, like any other collector, if it was a gaming and comics growing up, it was pretty much Disney, and I never actually seen the whole movie of Pinocchio. I couldn't tell you a song from the movie, but I've always liked this design, and I like the story, and I had some points to use, so when he popped up on 5K Toys, I said, what the hey, I got just enough points to get this and only pay for shipping. Man, that was tight. And you know what? I want to make a point here. So this figure I got for like maybe 45, 49, something like that. Dasin model's not really that big of a company, right? I mean, I'm not really too sure about it, but look, this is a licensed product from Disney. Look how much paint they have on this figure for this price point. I mean, sure, I could be critical and say this looks more like a generic type of version of Pinocchio. Like his headline could be adjusted, his face is a little too rounded, but man, he's got paint on the hat. This material they use for the arms and the legs, it's got pins in it, and that will be an issue. We'll get into that in a second, but it's got paint on it as well. You got airbrushing for the shoes, airbrushing for the shorts. I think his face could be a little more tinted though. Also, that ribbon around his hat, I would have liked it if it was a little more seamless. Other than that, I think he looks alright for a generic version of Pinocchio. You know what he kind of reminds me of? Like a young kid in a black and white movie walking down the street. He got a big balloon in one hand and a big ass lollipop in the other, and he not even trying to look like Pinocchio. His mom laid that on the bed for him the night before. She probably squeezed his cheek, said, oh, you're gonna look so cute. As you can see, Dasin model packed this figure in with a bunch of different options. He even has fist hands. So come on now. Pinocchio got fist hands. I'm not trying to hit nothing. The crevice for his grip hands is not a full port, so I'm not really sure what they intended for him to grab with these. Maybe this. As you can see, he also comes with his little companion, Jiminy Cricket, I think his name was. Even this guy's crammed with paint and detail. I wouldn't say he necessarily looks accurate, but I do appreciate the accessory, and the cool thing about him is he could actually balance. A little glossy on the face, but I'm glad they threw this accessory in there. And then we have his tail here. It's got a little flex to it. I think this was a donkey reference from the movie. And here you have a couple swap out faces with a swap out nose for when he's been telling a whole bunch of lies. And now that I think about it, his neutral nose could have been more rounded like the source material, but I don't have any problems with this extended nose. It looks fairly accurate. Could have used some more paint or some more detail to it. Didn't it have one version of the nose where he had a branch or something poking out of it? Don't really care much for these facial expressions though. Kind of reminds me of like Mickey Mouse, but yeah, his nose is swap out nice and easy. They are key and they got a flex to it. Then he has two swap out hats, one for when his donkey ears is hooked up. Looks like a little wash in the feathers, so that's kind of cool. Got a little bit of damage for when I took off the hat, so that's unfortunate, but I do like the way it's keyed though. It fits in nice and snug and it holds pretty well. And here we have his donkey set up, completely assembled, and you know what? I was thinking about it. This may not be a licensed product. I might be wrong about that. Got no problems with the ears. It's of a harder plastic, and I like that blending transition from the two colors. That's cool. It's got a couple different eyepieces that are modular with his face plate, so that's awesome. And these faces all hold well. I kind of wish that seam wasn't at the bottom of his face though. And last but not least, we wouldn't be Dasin model if we didn't include a stand, and the base part is done really nice. Got a real cartoony look to it. I wish there was more detail in the leaf part of it, but you can see the age lines on the top of it, so that's kind of cool. The arm does rotate in a couple different spots, so that's nice, but it is kind of loose in that base connection. Couple different size comparisons for you. I don't have any other Disney figures, but here we have him next to Lil Wayne, the Hasbro Timber, and your Plunderling. Next we have him next to the Target Fortnite arcades. I can't remember what those are called, and some fresh paint. And lastly, here we have him next to your Jada Toys Chester Cheetah and your Kotobukiya Zero model kit. Final thoughts on the Dasin Toys Pinocchio. As I mentioned, this figure doesn't quite capture that Disney look, but the fact that they threw so much paint in him does not go unnoticed. I also like the way they engineered this figure, so I'm gonna give him an 8 for his look. For his accessories, I'd say the only face he's really missing is a nice stern face. That would have brought this figure really over the top, but he does come with a stand and a rack of hands. They crammed so much into this figure for the price point, so I'm gonna give him a 9 for his accessories. When it comes to the quality, man, that's kind of rough. I think the seam line for the ribbon at his hat could have been more fluid, and the paint job all the way around this figure. I would have liked it if it was more crisp. I'm getting paint chips and such all around this figure from the hat to the feet. The grip for the feet and the hands is not very tight, so they fell off quite a few times while I was recording. I messed those shoes up. The feet actually do have some weight to it too, so be really careful with that. As you can imagine, the weight of his head is an issue too. It does get a little bit floppy, as well as the knees with those heavy shoes. Swapping out his headpiece is kind of tight. I'm a little wary on that, but I do like that his sleeves have a little flex to it, so I'm going to give his quality a 7. As far as his articulation, I'm impressed with what Dasin model was able to do for this figure. No double joints at the knees. That would have been nice, but he does have double joints at the elbows though. That's kind of cool. He's got a soft pelvic diaper. His legs and his ankles move pretty good. His ab crunch could use some work, but he does have some pretty decent movement at the torso. He's got a thigh swivel. He's got a nice ankle walker, and you have a butterfly joint. What? That's actually impressive. I'm gonna give his articulation an 8.9. I think in the future his knee joints are going to get really loose, so I'm really worried about that. I like that he has soft plastic around some of his outfit. It looks like some of it is removable, but it looks like it's tabbed in and glued, so do that at your own risk. Ultimately though, I think if you're looking for some Pinocchio representation, he's going to do what he's supposed to do. If you're asking if I recommend this figure, if if you need it, go for it. Despite all the issues, I think Dasin model did a pretty decent job with this figure. Final score, I'm gonna give him an 8.5. Alright, y'all, that's the video. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.